And we're back. We are back with another segment of Igniting Ink Live. Look, if y'all are in the chat with us, make sure you are letting us know that you are here. You know how technology is. Sometimes you think you're going live and you might not be going live. So let's make sure that we are actually in the places that we want to be. I am so excited to be sharing space with y'all today. And when I tell you all are in for a treat again this week, we are in week three, kind of week three. Like we kicked this off on August 1st. So we went live on August 1st, which was a Thursday, to celebrate the launch of Igniting Ink 30-day writing journey. Oh snap! Look at that! Look at that! Look at that! Look at that! Right? So we came together on August 1st to really celebrate the journal and its launch. And then we came back and hit y'all with another one the following Tuesday talking about week one. And week one, if you take a look in the journal, we have broken it down very intentionally on purpose. And in week one, we are talking about what it looks like for you to cultivate healthy habits, right? This is all about how do we show up for ourselves and how do we make sure that we are here and creating a space where we are writing every day. So that way we can work through the muck to get to the gold. And then week two, which was last week when we hopped on Tuesday, we started talking about overcoming. No, that was actually August 1st when we did that. That Tuesday we talked about overcoming doubt and fear. Look, it has been a month full of goodies. Week three, which was last week, we talked about unleashing your stories. And then week four, we are talking about embracing your unique voice and vision. And every single time we have come together, we have had the opportunity to highlight a different author, which has been absolutely exciting. So last week, Catherine over here blew us away with reading an excerpt from her stories. The week before that, Joan hopped in here and talked about her poetry book. I love how y'all are posing as I'm talking about y'all. This is so cute. Um, read a poem from her book, Black Woman Breathe, which was absolutely amazing. We had tears in our eyes. And I was able to talk about the launch of Igniting Ink when we first kicked off. And today, y'all, today, the feature for today, get ready because y'all are about to see the magic and the beauty of Miss Regina Berg. We're going to go around this room and we're going to introduce ourselves. And for all of the segments that we have had, thank you so much, Jano, for being in the room with us. Oh, yes. Oh, yes, yes, yes. We could not have done this without you. Wait till y'all hear the questions that are about to bless your screen. We have a conversation with you all. Just as a heads up, in case this is your first time joining us, we have a conversation with you all. This is not a one-sided thing. So make sure y'all hop in this chat. Look here. Cassie is already in the chat talking about, and we're back. I see Paula here. Hey, Paula. Hey, Jessica. I see you, Eileen. I see you all. Make sure y'all are tagging a friend and let them know that we are here. Again, we want to make sure that as many people as possible have access to what we're about to talk about today. But I'm going to step back real quick. For those of y'all who do not know me, my name is Heather Bird, and I am an international award-winning writer, your favorite writing coach, and CEO of Bird's World Publishing, where we are on a mission to empower 1,000 women of color to write and publish their books so that they can turn their message into a movement. And we ain't playing about any of that. It is not just about writing books here, y'all. We are talking about creating a rippling effect with our voice and with our story. And we'll talk a little bit more about what it means for us to actually embrace our unique voice and vision. But I'm going to let other folks introduce themselves as well. Make sure y'all are still letting us know that you are here. Make sure you are tagging all your friends. I want us to go around the room real quick and introduce ourselves. So if y'all could really quickly introduce yourself by saying your name, your pronouns if you choose. Let us know where your feet are planted. Shout out to Joan for that. I just love that so much. Like every time, it just makes my heart so warm. And then I want you all to answer the question, how would you describe your writing style to a stranger? So you're saying your name, you were saying your pronouns if you choose. You are letting us know where your feet are planted. And then you are answering the question, how would you describe your writing style to a stranger? And I'll kick y'all off. because I know when sometimes when it comes to describing our own work, it can be a little difficult. And I'm not gonna lie, sometimes it's a little bit easier for somebody else to describe our work too. So if you're in this room with us and you're like, hey, I've heard your work, and this is how I would describe it to a stranger, go ahead and drop that in the chat for us too, because we're here together, right? So for me, like I said, my name is Heather Bird, and I use she, her pronouns. My feet are planted in Chicago. And the way in which I would describe my writing to a stranger is an eclectic combination of cayenne pepper and ripe mangoes.
Ooh.
Ooh.
Oh.
Mm.
Who's next?
I'll go next.
Let's go.
So, my name is Regina Berg. My feet are planted in Pflugerville, Texas, with roots in Chicago. And I use she, her pronoun. And if I were to describe my writing style, I would say that it is steeped in detail.
Ooh,
Yes.
that's
Accurate.
that's facts.
Mm-hmm. I'll go. My name is Joan. I am planted, my feet are planted in Connecticut. I use she, her pronouns. And how would I describe my writing style? This has been helpful to hear you all share. I would say it is a combination of little pillow words that go to your soul.
Little pillow words.
Oh,
Oh, we're gonna cry already. So thank you, Joan, Heather, Regina. So I'm Catherine. Aloha kako. Hello, everyone. I am originally from the island of Hawaii. My feet are currently planted in Massachusetts, and I use the pronouns wahine, she, hers. How would I describe my writing style to a stranger? I would say that it is like a Hawaiian flower lei, that each flower, each petal relies on the next to create something meaningful, beautiful, courageous. And a flower lei, when it's linked, is like an infinity, that it just continues to keep on giving. And in Hawaii, we do not ever throw flowers away. We pick flowers from the land, the aina, and we give them back to the aina, or we send them back out to the makai, the ocean. And so for me, my writing style has evolved to a point where, again, we lean in and on each other.
well
Okay.
said.
I was trying not to go last this time, I swear.
Sorry.
So today, okay, my name is Jano. I'm in the Midwest. And today, my writing style is like you have a child and there's the ice cream man outside and they want to get some ice cream. They feel like ice cream truck's going to leave them. And they're running and trying to tell you at the same time, they can't get their words out. And oh my God, you got it. Ice cream man, ice cream man.
That's great.
So I feel that my writing style is that I gotta tell you this. Did you see that? Ice cream man. That I gotta tell you this story. I do creative nonfiction.
Mm-hmm.
Yo, these descriptions.
I know, right?
They're
Woo.
so good. They are so good. Yo, I love all of this. And make sure if you are a writer, you let us know how you would describe your writing and your stories that you tell, your writing style. How would you describe that to a stranger? Let us know in the chat. Because look here, we feed off of each other, right? We were in the back. I'm just going to give y'all a little behind the scenes, right? We were in the back trying to figure out how we were going to answer this question. It was such a good question. And we were like, I got to think about it. How are we going to we just do it. We just hop in there. And that's the beauty of being in community. It's like when one person does it, the other person then has the strength to do it. And then the next and the next, and then we build in some kind of way. We end up with the ice cream man. So this is great. Like ice cream, that was great. Like all of this is so beautiful. It's so beautiful. So I cannot wait to dive in with you all and talk more about how you can unleash your voice and your vision. And so what I am going to do is pass it off to what has affectionately been known, to who has affectionately been known as the question queen.
Wow.
And you all will see why. So, Jano, take it away.
Oh, it's me. So we have some questions. Thank you, whoever helped put this together. I really appreciate it. Yes, you, Catherine. Some questions for the group. Let's get it started to
Let's
get things
go.
warmed up.
Sounds good. Let's go.
What 3 things about your writing journey so far make you proud?
What 3 things about my writing journey make me proud?
Yeah. Yeah.
Hmm.
Whoa. Jana. Okay. I'm consistent because of this
Hmm.
community. Like I would easily, there are mornings where I'm just like, I'm not going to go. And then I just imagine them going like, where's Joan? I'm learning patience that is different than writing reports and things that I did for my professional life. And I'm leaving a legacy with a community of women who I love and respect. So that's what I would say.
Hmm.
So I kind of thought about it a little bit. I think one of the things I'm really proud of. Is that feedback? Okay. Is that I learned the importance of a writing community. I always thought that writing was a solitary, very individual kind of thing, and I have learned so much about how that is just nobody writes in a vacuum. Not really. I think the other thing that I'm proud about is that I asked for help when I needed it. I knew what my dream was. I didn't know how to get there, and so I asked for help. And then I persisted.
Hmm.
I just kept going. I didn't give up. I you know, I this book has been a long time coming, and I'm just so proud of myself that I didn't let go of the dream.
Hmm. Hmm. Yes on yes. Look, pom poms are real. Pom poms are literally a part of the community. We celebrate no matter how big or how small. Whew. 3 things I am proud about my writing journey so far. So, hands down, this community. No question. You all will hear us say this over and over and over again. And I was actually listening to a recording from March 23rd of last year. And the folks who were with us in March 23rd last year were talking about a lot of different things. And at that point, I told myself, y'all, this was a 2-month experiment, and y'all still got me waking up. And this was just a month after. This was a month after the plan, right? So we planned on getting together so that we could push ourselves in the most healthy way in community to get our words out into the world. And it was supposed to be for 2 months. And I told myself I can wake up for 2 months at 6:30 in the morning to get my writing done. And now 20 months later, we're still going. And I don't know right now off the top of my head anything that I have done for 20 months that was an accident. Like that I've like tripped and fallen into.
Yeah.
It was just like it was a thing, but it makes so much sense. Like we feel the loss when we're not around each other. We check in on one another when we're not there. We celebrate the publications. We celebrate the new forms that we're trying, and we say, I'm stuck, right? So honestly, I'm gonna say this community 3 times over because it's more times over for sure. It's 100 times over, because I say this all the time. We transform not only on the page, but in person. And so right there, just two different things that I could celebrate in terms of my writing journey. So we could say community, in person, and on the page if we had to name three things, but it's literally this community three times over.
Okay, my mic was off, and I was determined not to go last.
You have it. You have it. Because Catherine hasn't gone yet.
It's on now. But I was thinking about how writing would tap me on the shoulder. I'd be like, leave me alone. Leave me alone. And a lot of that was because I just didn't feel as confident, or I didn't think I could handle the energy or the attention. So what makes me proud is being in this group, so I don't have to tell my writing to be quiet. I can tell it I have a place for it now, which
Yes.
I appreciate. Also, what makes me proud is when I get to the last period, bing, because I write for a newsletter at my job, and when I get to that last period, I am so happy. I'm so happy and proud. And what else makes me proud? If I'm writing something, and I haven't had a chance in this group, but I've had this chance, with my writing partner at work. If something's not right, I'm like, okay, let me try it again. And it's not like something like it's got to be right and perfect the first time, because sometimes you write and you throw that in the garbage. That's where you start. Now you can begin. And I learned that a while back. So those are things that make me proud.
Nice. I love that.
Yeah. Gotta write that down.
So what makes me proud, in building off all of what you all have said, is I feel that that I am writing completely unapologetically, that I am not second guessing. I'm not saying there's any part of myself that I need to check at the door. I'm not feeding anybody's model minority myth, that I am completely unapologetic in the way that I write, what I write, and who and what I want to stand for when I write. I also know that I'm doing that because of this chosen family, and that to get up every morning, Monday through Friday, and to know that this is the presence of how we start our day, and that the community conversations that follow the 30 minutes of writing, that centers me so that I can continue to write. And the third of what makes me proud is actually I am writing, that I'm no longer thinking about it, dreaming about it, yesing about it, that actually to be, 70 something pages in to the first book. The third thing I'm proud is that I'm now talking about series of books, whereas before it was just a book. So those are my three.
Oh, wow. I'm just really thinking about, I'm glad you had the accident. I'm glad that you were like, let's just try this experiment, because the experiment has become my life.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. It's Catherine talks about all the time. It's like, that people say you can't create a real community online. Not where you feel like you know each other and touch each other, but we did, and we do.
And we do.
Pretty amazing.
Mm-hmm.
Jano, you're muted.
There's so many ways to connect with other humans that I think we sometimes shortchange ourselves. We think about just calling somebody who's maybe not doing well, and them hearing your voice and what that means, what that can mean. And then FaceTiming somebody, your auntie you haven't seen in a while. What can that mean? Now we're putting it all together. We've opened up our hearts and our beliefs that we can make this matter. And we have.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I'll go to the next question. How did you begin to discover your writing voice?
Journaling
Yeah.
and writing in school. Like,
Mm.
I feel like I like what you said earlier, Jano, about it tapping you on the shoulder. I think as a child, it was like, you have to say this. People need to know. And so the only way I could do it, because nobody was around, was to write it in composition books and to write it in whatever pieces of paper people would give me. But I realize now as a grown up that it's critical for me to keep sharing it beyond the journal, because the journal obviously is great and I love my writing space, private space, but I have been hoarding these ideas and
Mm.
not sharing them with the world, which is what words want. They don't want silence. They don't want, I mean, they want some private space, but they need air. And this group has allowed me to see that I can give it air, and it's not going to get shut down like it was in school. It's not going to be red penned like it was in school. It's not going to be silenced like it was in families. Um, and so it's taught me how to respect my words in such an important way. And I just the inspiration, somebody had said earlier about how inspiring this is. Yes, Eileen, it is for real inspiring just to actually have access to this daily.
Mm. Mm. I want to take your journaling, second it, and then take it up a notch, right? I think journaling is the first step in understanding your thoughts and figuring out and kind of working through them. And then there's the next level of actually letting it rest and then reading them out loud. There is something about the space that exists between when you wrote it and when you revisit it that gives you a different perspective on what's been written and allows you to kind of see your own genius in a way. And don't even take it to the next level where you actually share it and read it out loud with someone, and then they have the opportunity to pick out the nuggets and highlights and have what anytime you read something and someone goes, "Ooh," like the reaction that they have lets you know that your words gave breath to something that they might have been holding on to for a very long time, didn't know how to say. And then that lets you know, oh, I need to maybe speak a little bit more about this or elaborate a little bit more, bring folks in. I love what you were saying, Regina, about your work in terms of the detail. Like, this is where I need to really lean in on the detail. And so you're learning again from community in that way. It starts with the journaling and then it has the opportunity to evolve. And I think that's how I had a chance to learn about my voice, because sometimes I would write, put it down, and not think twice about it. And it's not until I shared it with somebody else where they're like, you need to do something with that. That's, because you don't always recognize your own genius.
Mm.
Yeah, I think I remember the first time um, that I really had or could have received that reaction. It was we were up at the Clearing, which is a folk art um, retreat center in Door County, Wisconsin, and I was in a writing class, and I read a poem about um, when my husband first passed, and um, I had a hard time finishing the poem. I think Heather actually finished reading it for me, and um, then I I kind of stopped and looked. I don't know what happened, but the Marty, our instructor, she pointed out the people in the room, and I really looked, and there were people sitting around the room, around the table, weeping,
Mm.
and I was I didn't know how to handle it. I didn't know how to take it all. I didn't know how to take it in. But it was at that point where I really realized that the words that I write mean something, not just to me, but to other people that hear them.
Wow.
I discovered my writing voice similar to Joan as a young person. And for me, it became an outlet for that I was always labeled the consistent questioner, because when something didn't make sense, I asked the question. But as a young person, when you ask questions of grown-ups, they don't always want to give you a straight answer.
Yeah.
And so, but as a young person, I was connecting dots by writing, and then decided, all right, if I'm going to have a voice on the page, then maybe I'll write short stories, I'll write poems, and I'll give them to my friends as gifts. But it really was sort of this need for an outlet that wasn't being sufficed in doing just physical activity, that I needed to put my thoughts on a page, but on a page where other people might read it. I wasn't, thinking of myself more as an author, but more as, okay, this is how I'm going to connect the dots.
Wow. I'm still getting past my reluctance as a writer, and things for me like are downloaded, and it's like a channeling. So it is like, so I'm writing like well, hold up, you're going too fast. Let me. Okay, so it's something like that. A lot of the times it's like that. Other times it's not. It's about me taking something and telling a story and putting all the details in or all the facts in. But other times it just comes through me. And it started when I was about 11 years old. Yeah.
Y'all want to see something really, really funny? So they're gonna laugh at me for what I'm about to do because I'm apparently infamous for this. But
Of course she is.
You were gonna do that.
I love it. She slides back and then she turns.
so my very first book that I ever wrote.
Oh wow!
my God!
So the
Yep.
first book I
She
ever
still
wrote.
has it.
Good drawing.
To the last journal that's been released, the most recent release.
Wow.
Mama, let me upgrade you. But like
That's a very nice picture.
this is
Oh yeah.
I was 6 years old.
Wow. Look at that.
Well, you got hands and feet and a body. That's amazing.
You know, I probably still draw the same, to be honest with you. No lie. But like it's been very interesting. I still have like this is the original.
That's very nice.
This is the original. And so to know that my journey for writing started
Wow, that's really nice.
here at 6, right? To then know that things are have evolved, and we're all evolving, and we're seeing that evolution right in front of us with all of the projects that we're working on. It just gives me goosebumps, and it's so pretty.
That's amazing.
That's awesome. Just to see that bookend for now, right? That's until the next, and there's others in between. So
Yeah.
Wow.
I guess we should move on to our featured writer for this evening, Miss Regina. That's you. Working title, Pocket Full of Grief.
Pocket Full of Grief is the working title. Yes.
Yes.
Can we talk about that really quickly before we hop into questions, right? So yeah.
So I actually have Joan to thank for this working title. And I was going through the grieving process with the loss of my husband, and so I was writing a lot of poems about where I was and what I was doing and how I was getting into places deep inside, and I realized that I kept reaching into this pocket, and the pocket had a lot of things in it. And some of the things were old and moldy and didn't feel real good. And I also found that there were pockets that I would go into, and I'd keep going back and searching those pockets, and there was nothing there. And I finally realized that's not a place I need to go. I don't have to go back in that pocket again. And then I had other pockets that I went in, and I kept going deep and deep and deep. And then down in the bottom is a little light. There's a hole in the fray. And I go down in the bottom, and there's a light, and it's a gift.
Wow.
Mm.
So that's where the title.
Yeah. Yeah. So, I have some questions. Of course, you know that.
I do.
But there was one question I couldn't send to you because it was stuck in my bag. And I thought about it this morning. And I wrote it down on this sheet of paper. And I hope I can read this question to you to start off with.
Okay.
Okay. When our loved ones pass away, we often feel a feeling of incomplete relationships or abandoned love. Tell us how your writing has allowed you to continue these relationships and continue this love. How your writing has continued,
Yeah. For me, what I realized is that number one, no relationship is perfect. There are always broken places. However, they don't have to stay broken, even if that person is no longer with us. There's healing in the writing. And what I find is that there's a whole lot more that is good the more that you look back. So, and it's not, and I'm not always just, I'm not specifically just talking about Rod, but I think that is what I'm learning.
You're saying that, and all of us have had loss in our life. And it sounds like your grief has evolved or changed or shifted. Can you talk a little bit about that, or how your poetry might have helped you look at things a little bit differently?
I think that remembering the details, it's kind of like going into that specificity that we were talking about before. It's like when you go into the details of something, when you remember the specifics of something, when you write about how it felt to be in a place, when you write about how it felt to be with a person, it brings it all back and makes it all real. And there's an awful lot of healing in being able to just be back in a place with someone. I don't know if that answers the question, but
Yeah. I recognize that, a lot of your writing came from the loss of your husband.
yeah,
But as a woman, as a woman who's been around for a minute, you've lost parents,
yes,
you've lost siblings.
yes,
And when you tell your stories about your life growing up, for me, I am so much in that picture with you. How have you been able to process, like the family and the growth and the childhood and the being a daughter and a mother.
Yeah. Yeah, the it's been a beautiful thing to write poems about my mother.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's something about a woman writing to another woman.
Mm-hmm.
And so I loved my mother deeply while she was here.
Mm-hmm.
And I love her, I think, even more deeply now that she's gone.
Yeah.
Um, so I'm afraid I lost the rest of your question because I
That's
got
okay.
one answer.
That's okay. But it's just we get a chance to recognize and honor your grief with you, but also through your words, honor your love.
Yes.
And because I've had a chance to honor your love, I'm seeing people in your life. When I go to the area of the city of Chicago that you live, I'm like looking for your I can see them walking down the street. I can see your grandmother coming with a grocery bag. You know, it becomes so real for me
Yeah.
because you have taken your grief and your love and you mixed it up and you put it into a poem, which we all really deeply appreciate.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah. What's
Sure.
that thing you shared with us the other day, Regina,
Mhm.
about people being able to live on? Was that you?
I don't know.
It was because we
Yeah,
were
we
talking
have
about people being able to live on through our work and through our poems. So their names,
yes, their name lives on.
their name lives
And
on.
we talked about that in our group about how a person there's an African proverb, I believe, that a person doesn't die until the last person says their name.
Yes.
Mhm.
Yes.
And I think that that is true. And I think that that is one of the reasons why I write poems for my mom.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And
Wow.
it's inspired me. I just want to say thank you for that. Just your words are comforting
Wow.
because they're so honest, real, honoring. So thank you.
Regina,
Yeah.
improv. You gave an improv master class a couple of weeks back, but I'm going to ask you not to redo that improv master class, but to tell me how do you choose what you choose?
Oh, to write about?
Yeah.
Well, uh, it chooses me.
Ooh.
That's an honest to goodness. That I mean, it sounds like a glib answer, and it's not meant to be.
Mm-hmm.
I think that there are times like we were talking in the morning pages one day, and Joan was talking about breath, and the phrase of one breath at a time came up, and out of that, I just started imagining what that meant in all these different stages of my life,
Mm-hmm.
what that meant and what it looked like.
Mm-hmm.
And this poem just wrote. I mean, I had to go back and edit a lot, but the poem wrote itself. I mean, it was one of those amazing things that
Mm-hmm.
happened. But that wasn't something that I was thinking about.
Mm-hmm.
That was something that came to me through our morning pages group,
Mm-hmm.
where I heard this phrase and it touched me at the right moment in the right place, and I just sat down and went with it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Wow. Wow. With so many different mediums available to us, what medium would you choose to have your work live in? And I started this question when I first sent it to you about the words being in a book. And you couldn't see the words unless you had the book. But now the words are in the book. They're on a record, they're podcasts. There's been movies made from poems. I saw a play by Gertrude Stein made from a poem, the first all Black cast the Goodman Theater ever had, called Melantha. It was odd, but it happened. What other medium could you see your poem in like for generations to come?
I thought about this because there are so many different uh, ways for work to live on, and I think that the the medium I would like to see my work in is um, it's like a a, a recording
Mm.
where I don't need for people to see my face. I don't need for them to imagine what I look like because it doesn't that's immaterial to the poem. However, the inflection of the voice, the way the words flow, that is more important to me to a poem. So that's what I would choose.
Yeah, yeah. So that mean it would be maybe audible?
Yeah, something like that.
Okay, okay. So just say, I'm going to take that a little bit further.
Okay.
Your poem is now like it's floating through the air and somebody's capturing it and reading it, saying the words. Somebody you love. Who is that person?
Jano.
Okay, Jana, that's kind of like asking me to choose which one of my children is.
Maybe pick one poem.
Perfect response.
Okay, yeah. How about one poem?
One poem, one
Right.
reader. Like it could be a variety.
Yep.
That's
Yep.
a good question though. Ooh.
I think if I could have one person, I could just tap them on the shoulder and say, read my poem.
Mhm.
Kathy. uh, Viola Davis.
Wow. Wow.
I love her voice.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah. Do you
Yeah,
know which poem that would be?
no. Although I would like to hear One Breath.
Okay. You know she's only 3 people away. Somebody knows somebody who knows
Make
Viola
that
Davis.
happen, right?
Yeah. 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 Okay, I'm gonna go to like an odd question.
Okay.
Okay. You are to write a poem for 6 figures. You can choose a theme from the person you're going to be commissioned to write a poem. You're going to earn 6 figures from this poem. So this is a little different than the poems that might have been moved through you because of your life. So
Mhm.
you have also themes to choose from: loving my children, aging, sexual healing, falling in love again, my best wish, Kamala, our answered prayer. You could choose any of those to write a poem about. You're commissioned. 6 figures.
I feel like she's trying to put you on the inaugural stage.
Yeah, yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like she's setting you up real nice and just letting you put your
Uh-huh. I actually think of all of them. I would um I would write about aging
Mhm.
because I think that our society doesn't value
Mhm.
age
Mhm.
or wisdom.
Mhm.
And I think that people, I mean, this will be my 75th year. And I think that our society thinks that once you retire, you have nothing left to give and all you're doing is taking. And what I have found is that in the last few years,
Mhm.
I am more adventuresome.
Mhm.
Maybe not in a yeah, in a physical way. I've done a whole lot of travel. But on the inside, how my mind is moving, the
Mhm.
things that I want to think about,
Mhm.
things that right there. And I'd like to, for the world around us to value what we learn over, you know, 3/4 of a century.
Yeah. Yeah.
Hmm.
And can I say to you, thank you for waiting for me? I get so much from you. I learned so much from you. And what I get the most is you having the nerve to be vulnerable in your poetry, in your sharing of words, the audacity. And with that kind of audacity, I mean, how can I not be? I'm like the scaredy cat, like, oh my God. But you're sharing your deepest emotions, sharing your love, your loss. And I think it gives us all a little bit more courage to show up in our greatness.
Absolutely.
Yeah, yeah. So was I told that you had a poem to read?
I do.
All right.
So,
Let's go. What are pop pops at? Wait, I don't know about pop pops.
so the one that I chose, I actually had two that I wanted to read.
Mhm.
One is a little more complex. And so I'm going to read one that really connects with the working title of the book. And it's called For You Who Hear Voices.
Would you repeat the title of the book, please?
Sure. For You Who Hear Voices.
Okay. Thank you.
If anyone tells you that mourning should be sedate in its sorrow, that you should fold your grief small and pocket it like tattered tissue, if they tell you it is best to sequester your wounds, leaving them delicately unseen, your lips drawn thin with silence, for the sake of those who pour salve and salt. If anyone tells you not to read poems in public that strip your skin to bare bone of your bone broken, tell them every heart breaks along its own fault. If anyone tells you to hold fast to what is left of what is gone, tell them that joy is pocked with shadow. Tell them the lost breath gentling the nape of your neck is razored with want, that his chipped cup is so empty it scalds, that his cross now hanging around your daughter's neck swings like a tedium of days. Tell them that you lift the same photos and papers and cards and abandon them to the same table and the same dust day after day after day. Tell them your chair beckons you to rest, but in the cushions are brackish backlists of futures undone, echoing an exhaustion of tears. Tell them how sleep lurks in a shadowed hall by your bedroom door, between smudged pages, somewhere not quite here. Tell them that darkness becomes a familiar that catches you by the throat. Tell them who have not lost to walk softly as they leave.
Hmm. Hmm.
Wow. I know that in your prior life you were a librarian. You were the custodian of words. And in that poem, you really pulled some together, some things I've never considered you introduced. Wow. And you have another one?
I do have another one, but we would really have to share it on the screen in order for us to read it. Let me see. You know what?
You know what we can do
What?
is we can leave them wanting more.
All right.
Wanting more.
There's nothing.
You know what I'm saying?
I
There
could, I could also read A Blue Moon Rises.
you could.
Okay.
if that's okay.
We'll take
Yeah.
that. Yeah.
A blue moon rises over Chicago, and another mother morning. I see her daughter's mouth, gape-toothed and grinning, in a photo from her last birthday because they can't show the one on TV of a small body falling, or the shape of her mother's mouth, a screaming night swallowing every star, or a child hand gone slack as she seeps into cement. And my bound breath is barbed as my eyes blur this child into my daughter's daughter, crossing a familiar street and falling a bloody body. I see my daughter, bullet blown into a blistered, ever bleeding, and my lips open to gulp crude days, each a jagged slug, a slow rip through my throat. As the pinprick of a solitary star fades, I want to be in the sky between this blue moon and the next. I call my daughter's daughter, tell her I too see a blue moon rising, our hands touching screens across the void.
Wow.
Mm.
Wow. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Yes,
Ladies
dear.
and gentlemen, this has been Miss Regina Berg.
Look here. No. Yo.
Wow. Wow.
Yesterday was a super blue moon, too.
Yes, it was. Yes, it was. Thank you very, very much.
Mm.
That is our artist of the evening.
Wow.
We have time for one more group question.
We can do it before we hop into that group question real quick, though.
Okay.
If you all, I don't know if y'all felt how our breath. Somebody who said that? Cassie. I think Cassie said, Joan is inviting us to breathe while Regina is taking our breath away.
Yes.
And if you all notice, after reading Regina's reading of her poem, we all had to pause.
Yeah.
Because she took our breath away.
Yeah.
So this is just the beginning of what this looks like. So as we are thinking about the last question that Jano's going to pose for us, I want y'all to make sure that y'all get ready for Regina's chapbook.
Yeah.
Because it's coming. Y'all can't really copy that link down there. I get it. Hold on. I'm gonna have folks drop that link in the chat for y'all. But her words deserve to be savored and to be held, right? And so we're gonna drop that link in the chat for y'all to be able to sign up for Regina's newsletter so that when she is ready to drop her chapbook, y'all are ready to purchase for not only yourself but for all of your friends. So go ahead and do that real quick while we wrap up with that last question that you got, Jano.
Do you all have to have an emotional connection to your poetry or to your story? I know you're writing memoir, Catherine, but I'm just wondering, can you write something without having, do you have to have an emotional connection to write it?
Absolutely.
I guess I shouldn't ask a yes or no question, huh?
No, I
think people do. I think people write and get paid for it, and sometimes get paid a lot of money for it. Can I do it? Would I want to do it? No.
I'm learning in this group to actually connect to my emotions. So that, as Regina was saying before about specificity, that's this masterclass for me. This journey is actually connecting to emotion so that it can be the gift to the reader.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think, writing for us has been, so often, as women of color, that our voice is diminished and dissuaded. And I think that our community allows us to bring emotion back to our voice and to do it, as I said earlier, in a way that's not just unapologetic, but interconnected. That though all of us are writing in different genres, there is a connection between all of our stories, that I can see myself in the writing that Joan is doing, the writing that Regina is doing, and the questions that you asked, Jano, in when I first met Heather, that's what linked me to her. Was I felt like not only did she see me, but I saw her. And I think that when we think about this community, and we cannot sort of emphasize how deeply meaningful it is, because in many ways, sometimes there's more emotion than there are words to describe it.
Heather?
You can feel when someone doesn't have a connection to a piece.
Yep.
I think sometimes the commission pieces, if you're not asking yourself the question of whether or not this aligns with my values and what I really want to write about, and you're just in it for the money, you can feel it. You can feel the disconnect, right? And so there has to be some sort of connection, because if there's not a connection to the work that you're working on, how do you expect anybody else to have a connection with it?
Yeah. I heard a story about you having an author who gave you a book that they had AI'd, and you were able to identify this was an AI book.
I've had a few people. I've had a few folks come to me and let me know that they have finished their book. And when they sent me their manuscript and I reviewed it, I immediately was able to tell that they didn't write it, because there wasn't that emotional connection, because it wasn't that story that was specific to them, right? Not to say that the story that was told couldn't have been true, but you can tell it was too generic for it to be something that they could sink their teeth into, let alone the reader, right? And so the reason why stories live within us and sit with us is because of the emotions. If you lack the emotions, you lack the connection. And if you lack the connection, then what are you doing?
Wow. Well, that brings us to the hour. And Miss Berg, this has been astonishing.
Oh my goodness.
Can't wait.
It's been so good. It's been so good.
Yeah.
And one of the ways that we love to close out, well, we started closing out, I thought was really good. Last week, we kind of kicked it off, right? What are some words that you can leave, words of gratitude that you can leave with the reader? In this case, Regina, what are some words of gratitude that we can leave with Regina just from hearing her work? Because sometimes this journey can get challenging. There are days where you're like asking yourself, why am I doing this? Who is going to read my work? Is my work any good? And it's not until you set yourself up to. I'm sorry, somebody. They really funny.
I just read to
You gotta turn it up. There you go. Word to the wise.
In all caps, she shouted it.
Yeah.
She did.
Oh, wait. One more.
Don't do it.
Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. I was in the middle of something so good. But for real, like, honestly, when the days get hard, what we want to be able to do is turn to our sisters, turn to the things that we know have been transformational for others, and make sure that we're on the right path. And so steps like this, in terms of us being able to share our gratitude for Regina, is going to help her get over the finish line of getting her book out and into the world. So
I'll go first this time.
let's go.
So I would say my words of appreciation to you, Regina, is it has been an incredible honor to watch you evolve. That, I have been with you since the beginning of our Morning Pages journey, and even before that, because we were the group that was doing the Yesing Heather, that we were actually writing a lot when we were writing a little. And so to see, this chapbook, and to see the involvement of your emotion and connection to it, that you are an incredible visionary, that you see the world through a lens that connects and impacts so many people. And I have watched your courage be emboldened. I have watched you no longer being on the sidelines. I have watched you no longer be doubtful of your superpower, which is your poetry. And by the way, Miss Regina Bird is a published poet, y'all. And that is one of the things that's so important about our community, is that we are constantly uplifting each other without question.
Mm. Oh, Regina,
Ah,
I I just appreciate your generosity of spirit. I appreciate the years of wisdom in writing that you just nonchalantly share with me, with us. Whether I'm working on a piece and sharing it with you, or you're sharing your pieces to get feedback, you just model for me how to be a wonderful woman of grace. And I just can't wait to read your words, because then I can hold your words and it can remind me of that grace. So thank you.
Y'all ain't supposed to be making me cry.
Why not?
What you think? What you
We
think
doing
I've
more
been
than
over here
pages.
doing? I've been over here taking real deep breaths because every time I talk about you, there's a frog in my throat. It's a pretty frog though. It got a tutu, a tiara, and it has a karaoke pink microphone that
I like all of that.
that's sparkled as we're singing songs from Princess and the Frog. There isn't just one thing that I could say. What I will say is ditto to what Catherine said in terms of us watching your evolution. We go back. We go way back in the time, right? To meeting you for the first time in 2012,
2012.
to sitting next to you in class in 2014, and us being inseparable since, and us trying to explain our relationship to other people because they don't understand. They don't understand. You, my friend, and you are one of my favorite people on this planet. You have given so much crap. You have given so much to so many students over the years, and you have guided them through their writing process for I don't know how many years. And you have watched them hit stages for poetry festivals.
Yeah.
And now you have the opportunity to craft your stage.
Yeah.
And it is one of the most beautiful things I've ever been able to witness. So thank you.
I think it's very interesting how somebody can write a book like 100 years ago and I can pick it up and read it and still get something from it.
Mm,
Words will always be giving and offering
mm,
people emotions. Um,
mm-hmm,
how valuable they are. But the words I thought about when I thought about your writing was, for me, kind of selfish, is story movie. Like you're telling a story and I'm right there in the middle of it, looking around like, really? And I really appreciate you allowing me in, because the words that you offer, it's like you offer me a seat. So it's not this whole selfish thing, like, see, you kind of hiding behind, like, you kind of telling who you are. You just opening it up.
mm-hmm,
And I have a chance to sit down and just watch your life. I don't know. I'm not there yet, but I thank you for it.
mm-hmm,
I have to say, Jeno, that um, this this group makes that possible. I often say that this group gives me ground to stand on, and because I have that ground, I can move, I can walk, I can go forward, um, and so it is something that works together, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It really does. It really does. We have the opportunity to bring out the best in each other.
We do, and
And
we
yeah. And it all started with our writing journey. It all started with this dream of wanting to write a book and us coming together on a regular basis to make it happen.
yep,
And I honestly, truly, wholeheartedly believe that Igniting Ink will be the space where you can start your journey.
yeah,
This is a 30-day journey to get you into a writing habit. It is the space where you can be in community if you choose to be, to recognize things that you have never recognized about yourself that then add to the writing. It's not just about sitting down and writing. It's a self-discovery journey.
it really is.
So starting with a journal, igniting ink, to our morning writing space, to where you can be in community and others have the opportunity to identify your superpowers so that the rest of the world has a chance to experience them, is one of the most beautiful things. So I thank you all so much for being here. Regina, thank you so much
You're
for
right.
sharing your words with us and your wisdom and all of the things that you have just learned up until this point for us to be in your presence. It's so beautiful. Janelle, thank you so much for being our question queen and for allowing us to think so deeply about the work that we're doing and the intentionality behind it and to remind us of why we are doing this work.
Absolutely.
Joan, for shining a light on all of the work that we've been doing.
Mhm.
You took time to say, "Hey, I have a potential title book," and the way that Regina was actually able to describe it actually almost made me cry, and we were only like 25 minutes in. So actually, I probably wanted to start crying about 5 minutes in, but that's fine. We're here, right? And then Catherine, your space, what you bring to this space, how you set the stage, how you allow us to see ourselves in ways that we've never imagined that we could possibly be, is unmatched. Is unmatched. So I thank all of you all for being here. I thank everyone who is on this live with us now. I thank everyone who will watch this in the replay. Make sure you let us know that you are here by typing hashtag replay. We are still in conversation with you. This conversation does not end because this live has ended today. Make sure you join us next week because we have a special treat for you. Where we all will be hitting the stage and we all will have the opportunity to read a part of the things that we have been working on. And so it will be a celebration to wrap up this beautiful month of Igniting Ink Lives that we have been doing. Again, thank y'all so much for being here. Make sure y'all sign up for Regina's chapbook. And if you haven't already gotten your copy of Igniting Ink, make sure you do so that you can start your journey to becoming the author I know you all can be. So until next week, I will see you soon. And y'all know what it is. Make sure y'all keep reading, keep writing, and as always, keep joining y'all.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank